Class of 1972, a quarterback for the Warriors. He led that football team to greatness back in the early 70s. Now, Steve was named first team All-Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference East as a junior and was the Warriors team MVP as a senior. He set a school record with 38 completions at Lafayette in the 1970 season opener, his first career start. Pretty darn good. And a mark, excuse me, that still stands. He also led ESU to a pair of winning seasons in 1970 and 1971, throwing for a total of 3,059 yards and 31 touchdowns. In 1970, he tied a school record with 19 touchdown passes and threw a single game record of 5 against Kutztown. Steve is currently the athletic director at his alma mater, Hempfield High School. Now, Glenn Gottschalk, a 2001 ESU Hall of Fame inductee and All-East receiver in 1970, remembers Mummaw answering all the Warriors' questions in their season opener that year as he completed those 38 passes at Lafayette. The Warriors won their last 5 games of the season to finish with a winning record. Gottschalk said that he was the little big man before Doug Flutie came onto the scene in the 1980s. Bob Lester, a halfback and classmate, said Mummaw was an outstanding leader of men, not a yeller or a screamer, but a subtle man in his leadership. He was an intellectual player who studied the game seriously and could anticipate where the ball should go and would go. The ball would seemingly come out of the line of scrimmage into the hands of a waiting receiver with ease. He also had great humility and was just a regular guy on campus. Tom Petro, a halfback who was recognized with ESU's Distinguished Alumni Award last night, said that Mummaw was an ultimate warrior, a leader and competitor with impressive skills and teammates who thought a lot of him both on the field and off the field. An All-American guy and ESU Hall of Fame inductee now, please welcome to the stage, Steve Mummaw.
This is the first time I've been back to the campus since 2001. Things have changed, really changed. I'd like to thank everyone for this honor. It is a privilege to represent ESU. I do have to preface that by saying it wasn't ESU when I was here, though. It's been 41 years. It was East Stroudsburg State College at that time. So the other part of that is I was looking at all the other inductees who I would like to congratulate, and I noticed how young they are. And I was glad that I was going first because if I was last, I'd have been posthumously awarded this. But anyway, again, I'd like to give this honor to my son, who's hopefully looking down from up above. And thank my wife and mother for all their support through our hard times. And let's go on with the good stuff. All right. I'd like to thank Glenn and all the other teammates who I guess, nominated me for this, and I appreciate all the people on the committee and everyone who has chosen us for this induction. So I thank all those people. And then they've asked us to speak a little bit on some of the things we remember. And truthfully, I can remember certain plays, I can remember certain games. I'm not going into that. I'm going into the more fun stuff, which we've already talked about, the teammates who are here. The first thing I'd like to talk about was the vacation that we got to spend on the Potomac River in 1969 as a preseason practice at the Quantico Marine Base. Quite a vacation. We slept in the barracks, we cleaned the barracks, we ran around. If you can remember, a guy named Howard Stenfellas, named for Stump. He was short and stubby. Kind of like pre-dawn, we would have to get up to a record that was finally stolen one morning because it came on with these blaring, rah-rah songs from colleges. So we'd get up, we'd start to run around the barracks, and all of a sudden, Howard Sten, he would just duck in behind one. Coach Dowds and Sutton, you probably didn't even know that, but he would be there when we came around the other side and just step out in the line again. So there were some things going on there, but that was quite an experience. We went down in 2 buses. We ended up going down in 1 bus because one caught fire. When we got there, we were split offense, defense. We would travel back and forth to the practice fields in the cafeteria where we would eat on cattle cars. And that was quite an experience also. And then lastly, I really got my first career down there. It was my singing career. Because at that time, now today it would be called hazing and you wouldn't be allowed to do this, but they had the underclassmen stand on the tables and on chairs at the cafeteria with the Marines in there, and we'd sing our fight songs from our high school. Well, that was also the ending of my career too, by the way, but it was very quick, on and off. So Quantico was quite an experience, and we got to play the Marines on Saturday before we left. So we had a great week of vacation down there. The second thing I'd like to talk about quickly, and the practices I would call as normal. We did the normal things, and then the exciting part came when it came about to our conditioning programs. And I remember Dr. Sutton saying to me one day that he thought he could get anyone in shape for any sport in a very short amount of time. And I do believe he was right. But you gotta understand this. In full gear, we would run cross country up and down the hills, which is now the baseball field, and I don't know, there's a building where our practice field was, so I don't even know what that is. But anyway, we'd run cross country in full gear. We used to roll down a hill in full gear and then back pedal up, which is very hard to do. Try stopping with all your gear on. And then we would play leapfrog in full gear. And you know how many times your feet catch somebody's shoulder pads and you fall and you get up? But you know what? It's just like football. You get knocked down and you get up again. And that's probably why he did that. But again, they were great conditioning things. I kind of liked them, truthfully, because it was like going to the Marine base. I loved the obstacle course and things like that. So, but the conditioning was just out of this world, in my opinion. And I think they all thought he was crazy at the time, and probably some of you still know him today as that too, but it worked well for us. The other thing is we were not very big. As a matter of fact, I am the athletic director at Henfield High School down around Lancaster, and I was thinking and looking at some of our yearbooks, and we averaged about 170 to 205 pounds in the interior line. Our biggest guys were our two ends at like 220 and 210. My high school, last night we played, they averaged 285 in the middle of the line. So things have changed drastically. And oddly enough, at 5'8", 140 pounds, I could actually see over some of my line. That's how small we were. This was alluded to a little bit prior, but during the 1970 season, we did not get off to a real good start. We were 0-4, and going into the fifth game, it was against Cheney. The coaches took us up into the wrestling room. I don't know if you guys will remember this, but they played a record by a guy named Ray Elliott, who used to be a coach at Illinois. And this was a definite motivational album for me. It kind of changed my life in the way I looked at things, knowing that no matter what the odds were, you keep fighting and eventually you will win. And when I speak to any of our teams down at the high school, I always end with this little poem, and that's what I'm going to do today. It's called The Proper State of Mind. If you think you can, you can. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you think you might but don't think you can, it's almost a cinch that you won't. For out in the world you'll find success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. And many a race is lost before a step is run, and many a coward fails before his work's begun. Think big, your deeds will grow. Think small, you'll fall behind. Think that you can, and you will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself if you're ever going to win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later the fellow who wins is the fellow who thinks he can. So this afternoon, I say go Warriors and good luck, Coach Dowds. Thank you.